Good evening. Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm about to give a really unpopular opinion, and I'm sure it's going to be especially unpopular amongst women.
I'm Gray Mars. Break a record by being with 100 men in one day. And right after she was done, she recorded a documentary.
I'm a vegan weed. Call yourself fresh and wear the same weak ass turtleneck on every show. Goddamn. Then we got goddamn the Sudanese Sambo. Bruh, man.
And I'm Enzo. Bringing up in my lives is they're like, oh well, he's violating the Constitution by having a meme coin and him making money off it in office and everything like that. I was like, if that was the case, like there would be lawsuits up the ass and impeachment in court.
I'm skeptic. Like I always say, don't let anybody trample on your constitutional rights.
I'm Mia. That's not a correct power dynamic in my mind. Typically, the people that are trying to be removed are not in control. That's why they're easily being removed.
The government, states, they start putting these RICO acts on Diddy, all of these guys, and try to put it on these ongoing criminal organizations. I ain't never seen the government put a RICO act on the KKK.
Switch happened. Come on, man. You gotta acknowledge this. This is the problem that I have with elders like you, because you fail to acknowledge that this stuff has happened.
If we sit there and be old school, we gonna miss the boat. You know, a lot of this kids 19 years old buying houses with Bitcoin, buying Maserati.
Wow.
I think when it comes to the woman, if a man takes charge and he shows that he's logical,
same people. That's number two. That's all theater. This is WWF.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee. His grace uncrowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Described him as one of the most dangerous men on the face of the earth.
Welcome to the Man Cave. Welcome to the Man Cave. I'm Gray Mars.
I'm 85 Slim.
I'm Mia.
Ken Billions, what's happening?
And I'm King J.
Slim, you're the most MAGA person I know. How do you feel about the passing of Charlie Kirk?
Devastated. I got a lot of hours invested in Charlie, man. I seen what he was doing. I seen that he's infiltrated a really big portion of the system. I'm talking Rothschilds, Rockefellers, everything that they basically put in the schools that they wanted people to learn. He infiltrated all of that shit. And damn, yo, it's crazy how this life is, because when you watch these Charlie Kirk videos, you actually see where the rhetoric is basically coming from. You see where the indoctrination is. Even when you outside, like, I'm an older cat. I'm 50 years old, man. So I see these young kids literally try to be smarter than you, like, every day. Like, and they be like 19, 20. Like, they've been here longer than you. And I see it every day. So when he was going to those colleges, man, and the way he was breaking it down, he messing with their money, man. He basically telling you you don't need college because this is what they trying to have you learn. He telling you that. So he messing up a lot of money. So I'm hurt, but at the end of the day, the way this country is, so closed-minded, the logic ain't even there. It's just bound to happen, man.
Ken, it seemed like you wore the perfect shirt for the occasion. How do you feel about the passing of Charlie Kirk?
Man, I was telling my son, because he go to private school, so all the kids were talking about it. So I wanted to know the perspective of a high school and this conservative school too. And when I was telling my son, I'm like, the optics of that was fucked up, but that I would consider that first off, that's a beautiful death. Anytime you could die doing your thing. So if Michael Jordan want to die on the court, a pilot want to die on the plane, like, regardless if people agree with Charlie Kirk or not, he actually died in his thing, doing what he liked to do. That's one. Two, I seen a lot of young people like celebrating. And I remember when I was young, I was on the left when I was young. And I'm like, damn, I got to actually let you feel like that. But I'm unk now. So on the unk tip, what you don't know is for you to be great, you need a Charlie. Your greatness is pegged to him, right? You need Megatron has Optimus Prime, God, Devil, Jay-Z, Nas, Kendrick, Drake, right? For you to do what you do on the left and to rise and be a star and be great and people to feel you, you need your twin on the opposite end. A Charlie has to exist. So you can't just like get rid of the opposite end and think that you're going to be great. It goes in pairs. So that's unfortunate to celebrate his death. I get it, being a 18, 19-year-old young leftist. You don't know any better, because I would have did the same thing when I was 18, 19. But Malcolm Martin, right? You need your opposite to exist for you to study better, for you to read better. And the way that you go at a Charlie is not for him to die or disappear. Come with a better argument. Do the thing better than he does and let the people decide that. So that's unfortunate, but it was very poetic that he got killed talking about what he was talking about. That was very poetic. It was very eerie, but very poetic at the same time.
Well, before everybody else responds, I'm going to play what some of the disgusting things the left have been saying, since that seems to be what Slim and Ken brought up.
I'm not saying she deserved it, but I'm saying God's timing is always right.
These people are absolutely despicable. Remember, this is the same side that's telling you they're about doing the right thing and about being virtuous and about supporting people and about doing the right thing. These people are disgusting. They're not saying, hey, praying for him, hope he recovers. No, they're cheering the fact that a man was out speaking to a crowd in public, got shot in the neck, and blood was spurting out of his neck like it was a water hose. And they're cheering it on. These people are disgusting. It hasn't even been 2 hours. Absolutely disgusting. And I have some more things I want to say, but I want to wait to get confirmation on who the shooter was so we learn more about their intentions and why they did what they did. But these people saying these things, Disgusting. Now, don't forget, it's interesting because the same thing almost happened to Donald Trump. So again, I want to wait for more details to come out before I say much more, but it's interesting how all this dramatic high level of violence is happening against people on the right and not the left. That's just an observation that I've noticed. Anyway, just a reminder, I have a free email newsletter where I go into more detail on.
Mia, you were the person that shared this guy's video. You shared about some of the stuff that the left was saying. Do you feel like it's too soon? Do you feel like they have the right to say what they've been saying? The people that's been saying the horrible stuff.
I mean, this is the United States. They are protected by the First Amendment right to freedom of speech. I mean, absolutely. If they want to say what they want to say, I mean, they're going to say what they want to say. Do I have to agree? No. But you know what I do? I just block them and scroll like a normal person, because disagreement can be peaceful. Do I leave nasty messages? No. Am I ignorant to them? No. Do I try to shoot them? No. You know what I do? I go to their profile, I block them, and I keep it moving so it doesn't trigger my algorithm. That's how easy it is to block out people you don't want to hear or things you don't want to hear. It's just crazy to me that it is so acceptable that disagreement has to be violent, that it has to be nasty, that it has to be ignorant, that it literally has to be degeneracy, when you could just block them and keep it moving or scroll on by.
King J, you're on the left, and I know you have your own thoughts on Charlie Kirk. So how do you feel about what's being said? How do you feel about Charlie Kirk's passing?
I will say, it's always a sad thing when somebody passes away. I'm never looking for nobody's downfall, because death is something you can't come back from. But I will say this: when you fester an environment where you are condoning hateful ideologies and hateful actions towards people and creating that sword, the Bible says you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So your rhetoric, the rhetoric that you spilled unalived you. Look at it. He talked about gun violence. He talked about how bad certain communities are, and his community was the one that took him out.
Oh, you
The
saying
people
somebody
that
else
look,
did it?
the people that look like him. I'm talking about the people that look like him. They the ones that unalived him. But the
Well,
black community is bad. That's some of the things that he used to talk about. Like, and your people are the ones that took you out, and guns don't need to be regulated. His last words was violence, and they took him out. It's sad, but like everything that he spoke about, he kind of festered this environment. And I feel bad for them kids that's getting ready to get raised without no dad. But again, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Well, it is funny that you said that, because a lady that was on this show, she said the exact same thing that you said. But I'm gonna play that video later. But I will play this lady talking about, because Dems are already being blamed, even though they don't know the person's party affiliation or anything about him.
I don't want to hear one politician, Democrat politician, or liberal commentator on CNN or MSDNC or anywhere else say, oh, this should never be the answer. Political violence is not okay. We're praying for him. No, you're not. You are the reason that this is happening. You guys are the ones that were hoping President Trump was dead a couple weekends ago. You guys are the party of, let's murder babies in the womb. Let's shoot people that we don't agree with, and then we'll somehow blame it on white people or Republicans. You guys are the party of the black on black crime, killing each other in Chicago. You guys are the party of the school shooters, killing innocent children in their Catholic schools, okay? And a couple years ago, killing kids at a Christian school in Tennessee. You guys are the party of violence and the fucking devil. You guys are sick. I don't want to hear one more complaint about guns kill people. No, you know who kills people? Democrats kill people. Let's not ban guns. Let's ban Democrats.
Heaven, are Democrats the problem?
I think our government's the problem. I think that every single one of our media outlets will do the thing, weren't we just discussing the white woman who got unalived on the train? She was a Ukrainian refugee, right? Let's talk about the two Democratic Congress people that were unalived with their spouses in their homes. This is and everybody's feeding into it. And I see it like coming from the right and the left. It's the same thing. The right's calling the left the devil and demons, and they're calling they're saying they're more violent. They're saying they're more violent. Oh my God. Stop playing into it. Stop dividing everyone on race and gender. Stop. We should be evolved past this at this point. We are American. We should be able to, and I fought, and I know you did, and I know Doc did, for the right for people to speak their mind without being unalived, period. So I think the government's the problem and the media is the problem. And when we sit down like this and have empathy for each other, like I feel so, like in my heart, like Slim, I am so sorry because I know how detrimental this is to you. You know, everybody on the right. But when I'm sitting there being like, hey, I really do in my heart stand by the fact that I defended our Constitution and everybody's right to say what they want. But we shouldn't get unalived for it. And the more we play into this divide, the worse it's going to get.
Doc, same question.
I want to start off by saying, shout out King J. He also a veteran, my boy, in here today. Also,
thank you, King J.
I don't think anybody should, unless you radical like Hitler type deal. I don't think people should die for just their personal political views. Like, I don't think that's the answer. But also, white people are tricky, bro. When they had the little joint in Minnesota, they went into telling us how it was mental health, but it's never mental health in the hood. We just been talking for weeks about how there's a violence, crime problem in this country in Chicago. But when you go out to these rural areas, that's where these people are dying. And they talk about, they're going to put it on black crime. It's not a black person shot at Donald Trump. Luigi is not a black man. He didn't go to Manhattan in Times Square and kill a prominent CEO. This guy who killed Charlie Kirk, I don't know him, but I would bet money he ain't black. And when we get these crimes of white people killing each other, we do not say it's white on white crime. You know what we say? It's left or it's right. And they try to pit everybody in this pot together. Black people don't typically shoot each other over our political views. We'll just disagree.
That's cap. That's cap.
We don't. We'll call you a coon and keep it moving.
Blood and Crip is politics, bro. GD and BD, that's politics.
That's not the same thing.
Yes, it is though, bro. That's politics.
I don't think it's the same. I don't think. I get what you're saying.
That's politics, bro.
Close. It's close. It's close. You're right.
What's
but
the difference?
It's not on the scale.
It is when you bury your child. It's on that scale.
It's not on this scale when you saying we're gonna bring the government into your neighborhoods to police them, but we're not gonna bring the government into these neighborhoods where they dying at to police them. So that's why it's not on that scale. You see what I'm saying?
I'm talking about what it feels like. So when you choose, like, so for me, I choose the middle way. So when I choose the middle way, I don't go to left or right. I choose the middle way. So what that allows me to do is, the first thing that comes to mind is the effect that's gonna, the fallout of the people that was there, right? You went to hear a debate. You leave with trauma out of this fucking world. Today is the day where somebody is trying drugs for the first time because of that shit. See, when you go to left, right, black, white, all that, you miss out the fact that it's a whole group of people that was in the audience that seen that shit. Them, then us that watched it on the phone. Like, we just seen a dude get shot in his neck.
My thing about that though, kid, is that happens in our neighborhoods, and people act like it's some sort of aberration, like it can't happen in their neighborhoods, like it don't happen to them. They act like it's only in this community, and this kid's growing up with that trauma. Now they
Let's
seen
be
it for the
real.
first
All the
time, and
kids
it's
are
something.
growing up with trauma because every single one of those children that is trained every single time, every year, they have active shooter drills.
Well, what was
And
interesting?
that puts their nervous system in a dysregulated state.
What was
Point
interesting
blank, period.
is that that's what they were talking about when Charlie Kirk was shot. The guy was actually talking to him, and he was the guy asked him, "Hey, how do you feel about mass shootings?" And Charlie Kirk's response was, "Oh, are we talking about game bangers? Where we're talking about that as well." But
Yeah, his last sentence was, "Are we including or not including gang violence?"
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But viewer discretion advised. I want to play it, the shooting, for people who haven't seen it. I know people are upset that it's being shown over and over, but we do try to bring the news to people, so it's our job.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Oh my God. Go, run, run. Oh.
So yeah, exactly what Doc said, that basically he was talking about gang violence and then, he was basically shot. So, I mean, Doc, how do you feel about that?
He was about to try to make a correlation with mass shootings to gang violence. That was the last. They said, "Do you know in the last 5 years how many mass shootings?" He said, "Are we including or not including gang violence?" So he was about to bring this correlation in. Whatever correlation he was about to make or whatever point he was about to, I don't think it should have cost him his life. I think that's OD. If you disagree with him, I think that's, what I'm saying, this is not the way to do it, to kill a man about his opinion. But I think he was about to try to bring a correlation to some he couldn't understand. And you so far away, and it feels so safe in Utah, and you think these states are so low violence or so low crime, and these are the places that they have crime too. That's all I want the point to get across. There's crime everywhere in America, but they only want to police the hood.
Well, this guy seemed proud to do it. These are some eyewitnesses that said what he said.
Eyewitness who recalls what the alleged shooter actually said. Let's listen.
Yeah, the man who, after they took him down, he yelled, "I'd do it again."
Wow. Okay, that's what a witness said, that the one shooter who is in custody, we are told, the person said, "I would do it again."
Heaven, how do you feel about him saying that he would do it again?
Who is this person?
The shooter.
What is his mental state? Why don't we have mental evaluations before people can carry a firearm? At this point, look, let's not take them away, but you need to have a mental evaluation, because if our kids are being unalived and people are just being unalived everywhere all the time, that wasn't the only one today. There was another one today, but we don't talk about that one either, though, because again, the government playing on this thing, mainstream media picked that up immediately. They were live right after it happened. So to me, I'm looking at this like, why is this playing out the way it is? And is the government trying to turn us against each other more so than we already are? Do they want to incite violence in a civil war? Is that what they're trying to do? Because it's working. Because you see the left and the right being more vile and more disgusting and more hateful. Wake up, America.
This guy was begging to be shot, and this is allegedly the guy. So I don't know, but this is who they're saying the shooter is.
Shoot me! Shoot me! Was that you? We don't know if it's him or not.
King J, is this guy a martyr? Do you feel like him saying he wanted to die after he did it makes him even more of like, someone for the left and fight doing what's right or trying to do what's right?
I'm gonna tell you this. If you do the crime, you do the motherfucking time. I believe that. His ass need to get locked up. He did the crime, now his ass gotta go to jail. Cause if that had been a black brother, your ass be locked up forever. Throw away the key. Lock his ass up and throw his ass away. I don't care. It don't matter to me. I don't think that your political views should cost you your life, like Doc was saying. But again, like I was saying earlier, if you fester that type of environment, that's on you. Like I'm not gonna like again, I feel bad for him losing his life, but I don't feel bad because he festered and created that environment that made somebody feel like they need to go around there and do something nonsensical like that. That's what happens when you preach hate in the pulpit. You have to be careful with that. I mean, it's just a responsibility that comes with being a loud voice. You have to be careful with that stuff. I mean, we've watched great leaders live and die by that. Great leaders. Martin Luther King, he spoke about things people didn't want to hear. They thought back in the day that was hate to their ears. They tried to kill him. They killed him. Malcolm X, they killed him. You're looking at
The
people that
government
have
did.
loud
They
voices.
released that too, by the way.
We're looking at
They
people
released
with loud voices in the pulpit. This what comes with the game. If you want to be a leader, it comes with the game. So no, I mean, unfortunate event, but you festered that environment, and that dude that did that to him, throw his ass under the jail.
I don't know. I don't like when you say fester the environment, like somebody walked up to John Lennon and smoked him. You know what I'm saying? So like when we say like fester the environment, no matter what you say, someone is going to dislike it. Don't matter, right? So like what environment are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? When we were growing, I'm 41, bro. So when I was growing up, I used to watch the KKK on Phil Donahue, on Sally Jesse Raphael. They used to have people on there with extreme views. Marilyn Manson, right? So when I grew up learning like ideological tolerance. You know what I'm saying? So like when we say fester, what environment? Because these views that we hear now, compared to American history, this shit is soft. Like if you listen to H. Rap Brown, if you listen to Bull Connor, so when we're saying like the Charlie Kirk's rhetoric compared to the shit that's on the books in American history, this is nothing. So I do think we're living in a certain time period in terms of the masses, because in terms of speaking, this is the most censored I've ever heard people.
Well, I want to play 2 videos back to back. This lady's going viral. She's on the left for what she said. She's actually in Mia's area, New Hampshire, and Mia met her before.
Sword, die by the sword. He did say that gun deaths were an acceptable side effect of gun rights.
So I'm gonna play what she's talking about before you guys respond. So this is what Charlie Kirk said.
Never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal.
Okay. So basically he was saying, you know, that you're going to lose some lives when you're basically have 2A. But I want to thank you, Mandy Rose 89, for the super chat. How in the world do you think Charlie spread hate? Because he spoke facts. Sometimes facts hurt feelings, but that's not hate. I've seen a lot of people on the right saying that. Mia, not to pick on you, I know I always come to you for the 2A questions, but how do you feel about Charlie Kirk being pro 2A and then him being a victim of gun violence?
I mean, I don't really have any feelings on it. I think the majority of us on this panel are pro 2A. A lot of us on this panel probably carry. I mean, it's living in the United States. Everybody is armed. I mean, you're down in Florida. I'm up north. We're some of the most heavily armed people. You wouldn't know, but we're some of the most heavily armed people. We have the loosest gun restrictions in the entire country. Everybody where I live is armed. You ain't doing no B&E because you're going to get fucking shot. Everybody's armed. Nobody robs because you will get shot at the door. We have castle laws. Plus, you don't need a permit. You can conceal carry without one. You don't have to register. I mean, it's loose up here. Wild, Wild West style. So, I mean, I don't really feel any sort of way about it. Being shot could happen to literally anybody. Plenty of people get shot driving. I have a license. Am I afraid of getting into a car accident? Yes. Is it going to stop me from driving to work? No. It's just kind of how it is.
Slim, before I get your response, I want to play you and Charlie Kirk's happiest day of y'all lives when Donald Trump got elected.
News decides Donald.
Slim, I know you enjoyed that day as well. Charlie Kirk did a lot for the Republican Party. Do you feel like this is going to push the Republican Party into more success?
We've been successful long time, by the way. That was a good day. I appreciate you playing that. Because it reminds me that we lost a real patriot today. And this was a dude, like you said, Ken, he was doing something he loved, and he was doing it for the country. And I want to piggyback on that scenario with him, making that last comment before he was unalived. I don't believe it was the comment that killed him. I believe being Charlie Kirk is what unalived him. And it could be another video months ago that would trigger this person to do so. What I do know is that, like the young lady that sent you the super chat, it ain't no hate when you speak in facts. No matter how you look at it, this man read books like Thomas Sowell. He talked a lot about Thomas Sowell. And if you mess with Thomas Sowell, you really understand where we are as a country on a different mindset. And that's why I like Charlie, because he wasn't afraid to say what he feel, and he wasn't afraid to say the facts. No matter how you take the message, you had to get the message. And Charlie was very powerful at that, and he would walk with his head up because he knew what he was saying was right. And that's the bottom line. It's like, just because they can't answer a question, or just because they get stumped and they look stupid when he catches you, and he didn't go to college, they mad. I seen it multiple videos. And that's why I took my hat off to this man, because he was able to go into those trenches and talk to these crazies and still break them down. So at the end of the day, like Jay said, we did lose a lot of good leaders. This is one of them. But it don't matter what he said, it's how he was saying it and how the person that took him out was taking it. So everybody, we look at certain things just because, oh, this happens in the hood, or we see this every day. No, these people from Abe Lincoln to Kennedy, all the way up, these people were speaking truth. King, we could talk X, we could talk it all. They were speaking truth. So that means if you can't get the information out and someone wants to take your life because of it, there is a higher agenda that's trying to be applied. And if we can't see that shit, I don't know what else to say.
Okay. Mia, what did you want to say?
Well, I wanted to say that the man that they had arrested earlier, they ended up letting go. So we don't even know who killed Charlie Kirk.
There's no murder weapon.
Right. Well, they're also saying that it was essentially a sniper from 200 yards away, and they know the building that he was shot from. So, I mean, we need to kind of call a spade at this point in time. I don't think it was anybody in the crowd. This was a hit. I mean, it was dead ass 1 in a million shot right to the neck, to a main artery. Not even like nicked his skin, didn't nick his shoulder. I mean, to the artery. I mean, that is definitely somebody with some training. That's not your average redneck. That's not your average city person. That is absolutely somebody who got paid some money to do that, who does it for a living. I mean, that's a 1 in a million shot. I go hunting myself, and you'd be surprised. It's not as easy as it is to sight in, to lock in, to have all of those variables and still hit an artery on a space that's only maybe 6.5, 7 inches wide.
Yeah,
he could move. He could anything. So, I mean, I kind of feel bad for that like crazy old white dude, that like fat white dude, because so many people think he's the killer and he's not. I think he's just like a crazy old dude who needs a little bit of help. Hopefully they can get him some help, because he definitely did not kill Charlie. Charlie was definitely a professional hit.
I'm gonna play you led me into the next clip. So this is what Mia is talking about, where they're saying that there was somebody on the roof.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying.
Huh.
He just ran from over, where's my finger? Well, from over there, ran in. And now he's right there. Just saying, just.
So before we respond to the roof, I want to play what an actual eyewitness, how she described it.
Felt like a cue to me because they talked about transgender gun violence, and then as the guy said shooting or shooters or something like that, you just hear the gunshot and I'm sorry.
So Slim, you were agreeing with me about the roof thing. Did you hear that too?
Yeah, I mean, I heard something similar, but you know, like she said, it was one shot. It was no weapon. Like you could see how that, you know, how the artery was hit. It was one of those things. It wasn't no little pow pow smile smile. It was one of those things. You know what I'm saying? So where is the weapon? And if you caught him like that, the weapon should be on the floor. There's no weapon.
And I had sent a video that I found from a pretty prominent creator. She does a lot of law and police work. I used to follow her for some pretty big cases out of Boston, like Karen Reed and whatnot. I sent it to the TikTok group chat, if you could play that, because she slows it down and you can see somebody in the background with a hat doing signals. And it is like perfect the way she slowed that video down, and you can perfectly see this person is recording Charlie, doesn't even make any eye contact with him, does a, you know, two signals. If I were a conspiracy theorist with my tinfoil hat on, does a couple signals while still simultaneously recording. And then after he does those signals, as that shot goes, when everybody is screaming and freaking out, he maintains his posture. He stays there like he knew this was going to happen. It is perfect.
There are multiple people in the crowd. I was actually doing exactly that thing right before we came on here and screenshotting. There were multiple people in the crowd. Two that I saw in the video that I slowed down and watched. The one that was recording, and then another one just standing up the whole time, just watching.
What the problem with this is this stuff has spilled over now to Gen Z. Charlie is Gen Z. He's 31. He's a young person, and he didn't have an opportunity to double down on his views in the next 10 years or allow his views to evolve, right? But we know assassinations, right? If you're older and coming from the elders, this shit has spilled over to a generation that is now getting killed, and their rise is through social media. So this is an American sickness for real that has been going on for a long time, of charismatic people that have ideals, whether you agree with them or not. And we haven't nipped this shit in the bud, and now it's going to the babies. You know what I'm saying? Like this shit happened to Malcolm X. This shit happened to John Kennedy. You know what I'm saying? This shit happens to a lot of people, and we haven't nipped it in the blood. So like this thing that is kind of baked into America now has come into the babies. Anybody 10 years older, younger, you're a baby to me. So this has went to now Gen Z is now experiencing this shit. That's wild, man.
But the ones we keep talking about, the ones you guys keep talking about, those were government hits, and those have already been declassified now. So if we're looking at the pattern and pattern recognition, or looking at it without like a shred, like, you know, just common sense, this was a very loved man. And he was brutally unalived in front of all of the people that loved him, which is extremely traumatic. Regardless if I don't agree with a lot of the things he said, but I do agree with some of the things that he said. As an ordained minister, I do with some of the things that he said, but a lot of it I don't. No one should get unalived for their views, but I think that this is the perfect person for a hit to happen on, to get the everything riled up as much as they can to start a civil war, to say that the left are demons or the right are demons. It's all to turn us against each other. And that's coming from a veteran.
Let me get this. Kelly Corinne, she's a friend of the show. Charlie, she sent us a super chat. Thank you, Kelly. Charlie was unalived by the globalists that want civil war. This is deep state. Conservatives need to wake up. Signed, a conservative. King J, that was you talking?
Yeah, I'm about to say something real quick, and then I gotta dip out. Like I said, I think that him losing his life was tragic, and you shouldn't lose your life over your political views. But so far as my stance on Charlie Kirk, I think his rhetoric was disgusting. I thought he was a disgusting human being. I thought he was racist. That's just my personal view of him. Did he deserve to die because he was a racist? No. Did he deserve to die because of his views? No. But if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And appreciate you for having me up, Gray.
For sure. Have a good night. Mandy Rose, you the MVP of the night. You said another super chat. Charlie Kirk was a huge supporter of Malcolm X as well. I didn't know that, but that's cool to know. I want to play Mia's video that she was talking about where the lady slows it down. So we'll play this.
Did you guys see what I see? Literally seconds before, 10 seconds before. Watch the person in white. 10 seconds before. This is when Charlie Kirk picks up the microphone and he says something and then he's gone. Tugs on his hat and his ear and then boom, 200 yards away, remember? 200 yards away on a rooftop, and they knew what building it came from. A precision hit in the jugular. They had someone lined up, literally wasn't watching him, and then looks back at Charlie after he makes that signal. Does anybody have any idea who this person is? Because watch. I'm not allowed to say anything. They won't let me.
And you're telling me that's not a hit?
You guys draw your own conclusions here. It was
Exactly.
pretty weird that we got a Truth Social from someone before any news outlets were reporting it. Oh, and their reaction, they jumped way later than everybody else to the sound.
So that was her take. Doc, I don't think you responded yet. What's your take on this possibly being a hit?
I mean, of course it's a hit. Obviously, they shot him with what looks like probably some sort of, rifle from, they saying what, 200 meters, 200 yards, something like that. That's a hit. I don't usually get into the conspiracy things. It ain't really my thing. Do they happen? Of course. I just wouldn't spend my time. I got so much stuff going on in my own personal community, you know what I'm saying, that this really wouldn't too tough affect my day-to-day. I got a lot of people who really didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was today when I was trying to even have the conversation beforehand. So, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it doesn't touch every corner, but it looks to be a hit. And I think some of the problem with that is we're no longer talking about the jobs and the 900 jobs or whatever many jobs that's not happening, or we're not talking about all of these things. So things are done for a lot of reasons. Republicans feel like, oh, if we kill Charlie Kirk, could we keep the ball in our court? You never know. I mean, it's a lot of shady things going on against the government, but I see someone say he was a big supporter of Malcolm X, and I think just like Ken said, it's a shame that Malcolm X got a chance to see his vision change, what he thought and how he felt about people change because he lived long enough. And for Charlie Kirk, he won't live long enough to, to see his views evolve. So I think that's sad because, all kids deserve to grow up with their father. So,
For sure. I want to play the video that went viral, Mia, before you talk about your clip. And this is the video where everybody thought this guy was. So, Mia, somebody else also was telling me right before we started that that guy was innocent. So, you want to elaborate more on? I saw the cues and everything like that. So, you want to elaborate on what people are saying or who caused this, or are people putting on a suspect yet?
I mean, I feel like I touched base on this with Heaven and Nora earlier. I'm like, we have a man that's like 60 pounds overweight. He's elderly, high blood pressure, probably high heart rate, unsteady hands. He ain't got 20/20 vision. I mean, I didn't think it was him from the beginning. I'm sorry. I am judging him heavily just based on his look. But if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So, like, I didn't think he did it from the beginning. I thought it was a hit. That was the first thing I said. I think I even said it in the group chat. I think I texted with Nora and said, this is a hit. This is this is a 1 in a million shot. I can't believe people in Utah thought some crazy elderly man was pulling off this one of a kind hit. I'm sorry, that man needs to take his blood pressure and go to sleep.
I'm gonna show where he was carrying, then I'm gonna play another clip and get out with this time.
Stop, folks! Stop! Back up! Amy! Go!
That was him being carried away and people running, but I want to play the positive clip of Charlie Kirk that's going around. I want to get everybody's response on this.
I go around universities and have challenging conversations, and because that's what is so important to our country, is to find our disagreements respectfully, because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens.
I've never seen someone do this.
Well, it's a growing trend because people like me are facing violence, assault, the left. Yes, the campus Antifa. I've been stormed out of restaurants. I've been assaulted publicly, multiple death threats.
Okay, so what's your goal in all this?
There's more people that agree with me than some people would actually believe, and they come out of the woodwork when I do stuff like this. We record all of it so that we put it on the internet so people can see these ideas collide. When people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That's when civil war happens, because you start to think the other side is so evil and they lose their humanity.
All right, so I want to do the super chat first before I go to everybody. Thank you, Callan. I hope I said your name right, Kalen. It was a hit. He'll be used as a tool to try to take your Second Amendment rights. They want you unarmed. If you know guns, you would be like the UK right now. Ken, would a left and a right ever get on common ground? Because Charlie Kirk said debating was basically keeping violence from happening. You're muted.
The left and the right can get on common ground, but it'd be bad for business. It's better for business. Like, war is profitable, man. Division, that's a business model. Keep you over there, right? In the movie Lord of War with Nicolas Cage, Yuri Orlov armed both sides, right? So someone makes money off this shit. Someone makes money off chaos. John Rockefeller said the best time to make money is when there's blood in the street, right? So the left and the right can be like this, right? Easily, but it's bad for business. You know what I mean? And I also say that when I was growing up, I would come outside and I would hear 5%ers on the street talking, right? And they had their own kind of rhetoric. Then I would go down the street and then the Christians were talking. Then I'll go down further down the street and the Muslims were talking, right? Then the Jehovah's Witnesses were talking. Everybody's on their soapbox in the street doing their ministry. That's the America I know. The ramifications of something like this is now people being further separate. Now people can't go to college campuses and talk to the people that matter, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, because there's always a fallout from shit like this. And what this does is it puts people further away from having conversations in the venues where you're supposed to talk. 2,000, 2,500 years ago, Socrates used to talk in the open, right? When you lose that open discourse and that open challenge, it's a wrap, and it has an effect on individuals.
Doc, can Democrats or Republicans get on a common ground?
I think Democrats and Republicans, I think liberals and conservatives can somewhat get to a common ground. I think the problem with liberals and conservatives was something Nora said earlier in the chat, is the radical part of liberals and conservatives have caught the attention of the masses. So these people have driven the narratives which have moved these two lines in the sand so far. I don't think it's a big line. They disagree on a lot of small things, but I think that a lot of them agree on how much they love America and the country we live in. But the radical people go so far over the top, and that's what gets the light. That's what gets the shine, and that's what we typically see. So that's what pushes the line so much further is that we allow these people with the most radical views to get the biggest spotlight. So I think normal, regular, everyday people can come together, whether that's a liberal or a conservative or a Dem or a Republican. I think it's just the radical people that it'll probably make it harder.
Slim, you have such a hate for the Democratic Party. Is there any way that the two could come together?
I can't hate the Democratic Party. I don't like what the Democratic Party has become. Keep in mind, I used to be a Democrat. Can they come together today? That depends on the logic. If one side is ready to accept logic, I think we got a chance. But Heather said it best. Man has to lead with logic. Charlie Kirk, he led with logic every campus. And it wasn't just Salt Lake City, Doc. That man went all over the United States, multiple colleges. I wanted to point that out because, you mentioned the safe zone in Utah. Nah, Brody he was outside, like heavy, multiple colleges. And coming together, that would be the best thing. But I don't see it happening because, again, we Americans, we got to devise something. You even if you mess with video games, you got PlayStation dudes who don't like Xbox dudes, and you got Android dudes who don't like iPhone dudes. Everything is divided. Everything. Men against women. The old against young. Just look at it. This is where we are. So how do we find common ground? Man, I'm really to the point we gotta get back to the Bible, man. I think that's where we are. That's all we got.
But you a Republican, and you cool with Gray, who's a Democrat.
I know,
but
because
that just
he's a
shows
human being.
Because regular people can be together. You see what I'm saying? You just showed,
But you know what, though?
showing us that
I was
right
just gonna
now.
say that. I was gonna say
It's
that.
the radical.
Exactly.
I think it's the radical people who overdo it. Y'all could disagree on something and still be like, "Yo, that's my boy. We don't agree, but we cool and we move."
All right,
Like,
but
we don't agree.
look at Gray.
We don't
Look
agree
at Gray.
at all, do we?
Check it out.
And
Look
we
at Gray.
different
I
genders,
always
and we different races, and all that. We don't.
yeah, but check it
I
out though.
feel in
Look
my
at Gray.
50th birthday. I hope you had the best birthday. You know what I mean? I
It
have
was all right. I'm out of my country, so yes.
But
I'm
that's
not
what
in the
I'm saying.
United States, so
That
yeah, it
don't
was a great
mean,
birthday.
regardless, that don't mean I'm gonna hold a grudge against you and make it all evil and say you did it. Look,
But hear me out though. I always
I'm
call
not gonna
Gray
wish
the
nothing negative
last
on
real
you.
Democrat.
This man was unalive for that, which
Right.
is terrible. It's
But
terrible
Gray,
for his family.
you
Yes.
know I
All
always
people
call
agree,
you
but
the
this
last
was
real
government
Democrat, right?
separating.
Hold on, have it. Let Slim finish. What you
You
saying?
know I always call you the last real Democrat. And I've been
Right.
saying this for months. You know what I mean? And the reason I say that is because your reactions are normal. Like most people that's really, really left wing radical, there's no thought process in their reaction or responses. You have a thought process. You have that think before I speak type of thing. Like if you ain't got something good to say, you ain't gonna say it at all. You understand? So that's what I respect about you. And that's coming just as a man. It doesn't even have anything to do with your political views. And that's why, Doc, I could ride with this brother because I ain't got to get, oh, well, you ain't going to. And as soon as I say something, you overtalk me or whatever the case may be. I ain't got to deal with that with Gray. It's a different format. I'm a laid back type of dude. You know what I mean? So whether you Republican or Democrat, I'm going to go there first as a human being. You feel me? So if a Republican say something I don't like, I might not like him as a person.
So Slim, in terms of radical and extreme, right? A lot of people that have been on the left, because I've been on the left before, a lot of times, reality, you with the sick and the homeless, right? You kind of in the trenches, right? You with the sick, you with the homeless, you are with the people that are invisible, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you might not have the language to express yourself, but when you hear socialist ideals or communist ideals, because people that are on the left tend to be a little more grassroots with the people, opposed to a conservative who says pull yourself up by the bootstraps. A conservative is not oftentimes dealing with a pregnant woman that has been on drugs. Someone on the left typically is, right? So when you are dealing on that grassroots level like that, you see the worst of the worst sometimes, right? So that's and you can be radicalized, right? Because it looks like these systems are broken and they don't work, because look where you're at. You in the trenches of Baltimore, New York, DC, these certain cities. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but when you are seeing all the quote unquote filth of America, and that's what you're in, all it takes is a charismatic person to come radicalize you about capitalism, about patriarchy, about the systems, because from your vantage point, you at the ground level.
But don't you think if somebody come from that, that would be the best person to share that information with the people that's still in that?
Yeah, relate, but you got to relate. What we do is because of class, sometimes we lose relatability. So the conversations don't extend far, because first we have to relate as humans before we go into politics, before we go into religion, before we go into these things. Relate to me at our number one common thing, which is humanity first.
Let me do this super chat. Heaven, I'm gonna let you respond. I'm gonna we'll go to the final thoughts. There's no left, right, two wings on the same bird. Selected, you say that a lot. Not elected, both sides stalling on Epstein. Should tell you that not left or right is top, bottom. How do you feel about that?
Enough said. Where's Epstein list? Because both of them are on it. All of them, both sides are on it. And they're dividing us. And everybody's playing into it more and more and more. And you can tell what it is because the mainstream media picked it up immediately. But I was looking in the chat, I was reading all these comments, and I saw that the president didn't send his condolences to the family.
Oh, yes, he did. That's a lie.
Did he?
On social
Good. I just want to make sure, because that just
he did. That's cat for real.
I got upset for
Yeah.
That.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kaylin.
I just wanted to make sure, because that.
How do the left and right get on the same page? How do we get common ground with both parties?
We need to get rid of extremism on both sides. I mean, in my opinion, there's a difference between extremists and even radicals. Radicals are like those people where they like talk and you're like, and then extremists are the people that do crazy stuff. So I think it's one of those things where we have to get rid of the extremists from both sides at this point in time. Like they have to, we just have to get rid of them, because it's the extremists that are committing these atrocities, regardless if it is abusing people, doxing people, regardless if it is heckling them, hurting them, showing up to their homes, getting them to lose jobs. That's pretty extreme in my opinion. And we really just need to weed out the extremists, because 99% of America are moderates. Like Heaven and Nora and I had this conversation earlier. The majority of us live in the middle. We might be just to the right, we might be just to the left, but the majority of us, especially if you're talking face to face in a real life scenario, come together pretty well. It's when people are online that seem to have this degeneracy about them, where they like devolve into creatures. But if you talk to somebody face to face, for the most part, everybody's pretty much in the middle. And social media, politicians should all reflect that. So we just need to root out the extremism and start calling them out. I mean, I understand radicalism and extremism is in the eye of the beholder. Me saying I've been called a radical by saying that I think children should have loving, supportive homes. Somehow I've been called a radical, and I've been labeled a conservative for saying these things, which is crazy to me, because science tells us that is the best, most conducive way to raise children, is in a healthy, stable environment. But it's all about perspective. But I feel like we really need to understand like what's coming for us in this country is bigger than the race divide, because we're divided by class, and it's always going to be the 1% versus us. So we really need to start like kind of tackling that, because pretty soon they're going to be taking over this country and we won't really have a say.
For sure, for sure. Thank you to everybody that came in the chat. Please, we do this all the time. Come watch us. We have all types of topics. So please hit that subscribe button and press that notification bell. So I want to close it out, but before we do our final thoughts, I want to play Charlie Kirk. I think we should remember he was a family man and he had a wife and kids.
I love you. I love you too. Gigi, you don't just get to get everything you want. Okay. Well, you have to be on very good behavior to get such a thing like this. Okay? Hold on. You have to behave well.
Did you earn it?
I know, but what did you do for it? Have you been a good girl? Yes. Okay, I'll get it for you.
Doc, what's your final thoughts?
I think that's one of the most important things you got to remember. Charlie Kirk was a father, and it's gonna be sad that kids are gonna grow up without a father. And I think people are weird. Like I'm not no content creator, so I really can't get into the mindset of some of these people who get on the internet and bash the man. The man kid's gonna see this one day. You got all this smoke for Charlie Kirk. His people in your life really did something wrong to you. Really did something greasy to you. You ain't got no smoke for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, say fuck that nigga that live around the corner that you know what I'm saying? I've been trying you since you was a jit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people are weird for that. Like, people need to get outside a little more. Like, yeah, you might have disagreed with Charlie Kirk, the rest in piss and stuff. Yeah, like Charlie Kirk, a drill rapper. Like, that's just weird to me. Like, the man lost his life for whatever things you think you did or he didn't do. He wasn't like Hitler or nothing. You know what I'm saying? A man's sins rest with him when he go to, when it's all over. So I think people need to move a little different about that part. But I wish his family peace and in his journey, because I know losing somebody's hard.
Mia, what's your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are, first and foremost, my heart goes out and I'm sending prayers to Charlie Kirk's family. What happened was absolutely unacceptable. Nobody should lose their life for having an opinion, regardless of where you are on the planet. Nobody should lose their life for having an opinion at all. And if you are not subscribed and following the new party, please do. Please like and follow all of us here. We are all on TikTok, X, and YouTube as well. We do this Monday through Thursday, and we need to root out the extremism. Once we can get the crazy people out of both sides, we can probably sit at the table together and have an honest conversation.
For sure. Slim, what's your final thoughts?
Oh man, my final thoughts. First off, shout out to the Ukraine victim, the man who unalived that woman. I was able to watch that video in its entirety, and it was the most disturbing and disgusting thing I've seen until today with Charlie. I think that was actually worse. So with that being said, everybody on that train, may you rot in hell. The piece of shit who did that, may you rot in hell. I don't care if you get hit by a bus tonight. But back to Mr. Kirk, thank you for everything that I've been basically witnessing, all the information that you basically stilled into me, man. And I pray for your children, and I hope your kids actually get to see the videos that you put out and what you did for this country, man. And I just pray that somebody got the balls to continue, somebody that has the articulation to continue like you did. And that's all I got, man. I mean, rest in peace, Charlie, man. He's a good dude. Good dude.
Having your final thoughts?
My final thoughts is that this is a tragic loss that college campuses are and should be the place for debate. And that's what he was doing, regardless if you agree with his views or not. He shouldn't lose his life over that. I also do think that it is the perfect match to light the flames, because he was a very loved man, and he was clearly a good father and a loving husband, and his family has lost so much, and his fans have lost so much. And regardless of what he said, everybody needs to be aware of that and remember everybody else's humanity. And that's the way we move forward, is remembering we're not Democrats, we're not leftists, we're not right, we're not this and that. We are human, and once we come to terms with that and see each other as such, then we can move forward.
For sure. Ken, what's your final thoughts?
Man, so I actually have like a lot of American clothing, American flag clothing. I got leather jackets that I wear outside in urban environments, and people are a little taken aback when I wear it because of how I look, right? But I was able, because of America, I was able to go through many schools of thoughts. I tried Islam, I tried Christianity, I tried atheism. I've been on the left, I've been down the middle, right? I've been pro-black, I've been mad shit, right? Because of America. And I'm aware of all the ills. Don't get it twisted. The reason why I bring that up is because I live in America, I've been allowed to try different thoughts, and my thoughts have evolved and they got to mature. Charlie Kirk was only 31 years old. So when people saying he's filled with hate, I've been filled with hate before. I've been filled with a lot of shit. I've been problematic before, but because of the way the setup, I've evolved in some of my thinking. So when I look at someone like Charlie, whatever I disagree with him or whatever, I'm excited for people that believe in shit. Young people. I'm excited when people have positions and they stand on business. I'm curious what happens as you age. Do you still have those positions in your 40s, or have you fine-tuned them, or have you came up with better arguments? But we'll never know. And I think that's the beauty of like America, whether you disagree with this shit or not, you can be whatever you want at any time. And whatever your ideal now is, we have public libraries that 10 years from now, you could be a completely different person, but we won't know if Charlie will be a different person. So that's unfortunate.
For sure. My final thoughts is RP to Charlie Kirk. Condolences to his family. On the new party, I always say, always vote in my final thoughts. So as a remembrance of Charlie Kirk, I'm going to start saying always vote on the man cave as well, because if we vote instead of violence, we can probably get on some type of common ground. But if we're out harming and hurting each other, we're never going to get anything positive. So thank you guys for watching. Have a good night. Always vote.